Good morning, everyone. The rooster is really talking over there right now. Of course. Could you hear him? It sounds like a sick dog. Okay. We're headed to pick up Johnny. We're going to leave within a half an hour. I'm finishing up, making sure kitties are taken care of. Probably going to move the food on the bricks into the cat hotel after they eat breakfast because not heavy rain or severe weather, but we have rain moving in. We'll definitely be driving back in some rain if the weather forecast is accurate. And here's Mr. Tuxalux. And yeah, it's gray and not too cold. No sun today. Good morning, Panther. Hey, buddy. How are ya? How are ya? Hi. Yes, pretty eyes. I've got your food. And there's your bowl from where you had your midnight snack. Spoiled baby. You're spoiled. But you just sit over in your chair and let everybody else come and eat your food, which is good because it's safer for you. Hey, bud. Well, my daffodils are still going strong over there. They lifted back up after that rain made them heavy the other day. I was pleased to see that they had not died off too quick. And everything else is still holding off just a little bit, which is just as well, as we will get another frost. And the maple tree has got some buds. Good morning, Gray. Guess who's coming home to see you today? Yeah, Johnny. Hi. Hi. I'm sorry there's no chicken this morning, but I'm going to cook you one this afternoon. Hi ho, hi ho. It's off to Union Deck we go. I don't know what, well, Student Union. It's just, people just don't say the Student Union Deck. They just call it Union Deck. That's right. Anyway, we're headed to pick up Johnny for spring break. Yeah. I think he said he has a physics exam on Monday, so we're probably taking him back next Sunday. Mm-hmm. Okay. Sounds good. It says 12:15, so that's 2 hours and 45 minutes, and it doesn't show that we need a supercharger stop, and it shows we get to Union Deck with 22%, but we will be putting in either Thomasville or Salisbury and stopping to use the restroom and charging while we're stopped. So that gets us there at 12:30, and that's when Johnny said was good for him. So we are on time. I had hoped to do about 3 more things this morning that I knew I didn't have time to do, but would have done if I had time, but that's okay. It's okay. There are a couple of different back ways the car can take us, and today she took us Burt Road over to, what are we on now? We are on Buckhorn Duncan Road. Right. You can always tell what road you're on in the Tesla if you look at the screen. It's, you know, in the same spot at the bottom of the map. So anyway, there was a lot of talk on the bi-weekly Triangle Tesla virtual meetup call last night. He was really close to the line. And the shoulder here is really rough, so I'm not going to fault Ruby slowing down on that one because she did all that. What I was going to say is we just spent a lot of time last night talking about Ford and NACS and the supercharger network. Possibly a few more minutes than I wanted to spend on it because I'm not too concerned about any of the scenario. You know, it's not a super fun conversation for me, but I get other people think it's super fun. So we think, although we had trouble seeing on the Zoom meeting the map because we couldn't enlarge it, God, people just won't stay in their lane this morning. We had a little trouble seeing if Salisbury and Thomasville were NACS or not, but we think they are. Apparently, I-95 is pretty vacant of NACS-enabled superchargers at this time, at least from Virginia down to Florida. I think I heard Somerton, South Carolina is NACS-enabled, and that was sort of about it. Maybe Benson. Yeah. North Carolina. So it would be a little hard to think you're going to leave in a Mach-E today and go from North Carolina to Florida and use the supercharger network. Today, this is not happening per the map. You know, we can only go by the Tesla supercharger map and what it says, and I assume it's pretty accurate. Then the other thing I wanted to say, the other discussion point that came up, and I saw this on Twitter too, was how is it going to be handled, the cars that need 2 spaces to get up to the charger, and there's a Tesla waiting to charge and a space frees up, but let's just say the Lightning can't get in that space because there's still not 2, or they're going to get in the space but they still can't charge because the space next to them is not open. You know what? How is that going to be handled? Is the Ford app going to reserve that supercharger and nobody else can use it? Is the Tesla driver going to be seen as the bad guy because they go around the Lightning and go ahead and charge in the open space? Because I mean, why would you want the space open and not charging a car? You know, so there are some definite things to be worked out, and you know darn well there'll be some people out there looking for that one altercation between some Ford driver and some Tesla driver that gets out of hand, because there will be one. There will be. And that'll be all over the news, and you won't hear about the other hundreds or thousands of charging either go or don't go, Ruby. Don took over. Yeah, that was great. Not. You won't hear about the thousands that go smoothly and everything works great. You'll just hear about the 2 drivers that get into a little verbal spar, or the guy that parks rudely, or, you know, that'll be what we see in the news for sure. Hopefully we'll see some good things. So my point is if Don and I notice a Ford charging today, we will certainly let you know. We think the chargers we usually stop at on this trip are NACS enabled. Maybe in a week when we take Johnny back, which I think's next Sunday, you know, maybe a little more chance people have the adapter and it's a weekend and people are doing some long distance driving in their Lightning or their Mach-E, and maybe we'll see something. We'll be on the lookout. Don has one other scenario.
Yeah, I think the more likely scenario is a Lightning is going to be plugged in at a supercharger, taking up 2 stalls. All the other stalls are going to be full, and a Tesla driver or 2 or 3 are going to pull up because the app shows there's an available stall, and they're going to pull up and they're going to see the Lightning there charging, and of course the Lightning owner is going to be off, you know, eating dinner, and of course, you know, the Lightning charges at what, a few kilowatts, and the guy's charging to 100%, doing all the newbie type things. So that's the more likely scenario, where the Tesla driver is going to get really upset at that Lightning driver for tying up 2 spots and not being conscious of the busy supercharger and, you know, all that other type of stuff. Staying at your car, don't charge to 100%. Yeah, that's the more likely scenario.
Right. Newbie mistakes that even Tesla drivers make, because I see divas in the Tesla Diva forum like, what, you know, complaining about how long it takes to charge their Tesla, which to me is unfathomable. And the reason why is because they have some misunderstanding that they need to charge to 100% at every supercharger, and they don't understand how to use the map to really see where the next one is, and understand that they can really make it, and understand state of charge affects how fast the battery charges. You know, there's all these newbie mistakes, and some of these Ford drivers and other OEMs are going to be newbies. So it's the same thing a Tesla driver might make when new, but the tolerance level may be low. So we'll see. You know, it's hard to have a concerned perspective here in North Carolina because we virtually never wait at a supercharger.
Right.
We have plenty of superchargers for the number of Teslas. Even in Wake County, I mean, I know North Hills is busy. I'm sure on the weekends, if everybody's shopping in Target, there's been a wait there a time or two. Yeah, Sharon Harris has got a nice big steam cloud today. It's really pretty out over Sharon Harris Lake here. Yeah, even though it's a little dark and dreary.
Well, the other thing we learned on the call last night is that superchargers that aren't exclusively version 3 In other words, a mixture of version 2 and version 3, they are not going to show up on the app for now, because they don't want to confuse the Ford drivers, because they're not going to understand
how to tell them apart.
And so if they drive up to a supercharger's location that has a mixture of chargers, they're very likely to pick the wrong one.
Right, and there are several superchargers in the state of North Carolina. I'm just going to say Rocky Mount in particular, that are really old version 2 superchargers that have not been upgraded yet, and that's never coming online with NACS. It's just not happening. These older version 2s, we're looking at version 3s or version 4s. So yeah, I know even as many as they've added around, we still end up where we go, goes up to the Center for Energy Education, etc., over to Sylvan Heights Waterfowl Park. You know, there's recent friends in Rocky Mount that we have met through Tesla. You know, we use that supercharger potentially still, so good relationship with the steakhouse there. And the Tesla drivers going inside, etc. But we would like it to be faster and more reliable. That would be a fair statement. So, well, I guess we'll see, and I'm sure it will continue to be talked about on Twitter and YouTube. And yeah, I was just saying, from our perspective here, me and Dawn, you know, a whole data point of two cars, 2 people, is we don't wait at superchargers. What's all this fuss about waiting at superchargers? Now, I've seen the California lines. I've seen the Thanksgiving weekend lines. I believe those are real. If I was waiting all the time whenever I needed a supercharger, I probably wouldn't be too happy. I don't take off on holiday weekends, because I wouldn't take off in an ICE car or a electric car, because I wouldn't want to deal with all those other people on the road, gasoline station or not, or whatever. But, you know, so our perspective is people don't wait. The only time we've ever waited was at the Blue Ridge Parkway, the EV thing we do up in the mountains at the end of September every year. And, you know, when you're asking for between 100 and 150 cars, yeah, she can't see around that truck. She was waiting. She did handle it, but she was hesitated till her visibility was good, longer than a human probably would have there. You know, when you get 150 cars up in the mountains there, you know, on the way back out, if everybody leaves at once, you kind of expect to wait. And all the people that go to that event are the kind of people that aren't going to get impatient. Like, do you have a real need to charge faster than other cars in line? Please go ahead of us. I mean, it's all, you know, roses at those, even if we're waiting then. So, you know, people with babies, people that got to get back to work, people that have got, you know, reasons, we just put them to the top of the line and we don't worry about it. But, so yeah, I'm hoping in North Carolina we're not going to have any issues with upsetness. All the issues we worry about in North Carolina at superchargers are where, honestly, pickup truck drivers ice the supercharger, and Tesla drivers get really mad about that, and rightly so on the mad part, although, you know, you really don't want to start something at the sheets. Remember the last time we drove to UNCC and we were praising Ruby and we couldn't believe how great she was driving, and Dawn was, I said, I judge how she's doing by how mouthy Dawn is with her, and I'm the same way. A matter of fact, I'm worse. I'm more mouthy with the car if something's not right. And today she's doing really poorly. She has slowed down and irritated. She's not done anything right. Yeah, the first turn onto Burt Road, leaving the house, she messed up, and then I mean, there were 1 or 2 things she did that were okay, but she's done more not okay than okay. And I'm talking about not counting about lane center and going down the highway. Yeah. We all know that Teslas do that excellent. Yeah. And so can other cars. It's all about the city driving, and some days, or, you know, the turning, the stop signs, the other cars merging in. Those are where it gets, could potentially be sticky, or the harder edge cases. But at any point, we're only about halfway to the school on one leg of the trip, and Dawn's already like, I might have to start driving. I mean, it's not good experience today. I told him to pull over and do the wheel config thing and reset the gateway and see if she does better.
Yeah, well now she's got over into the left lane. That was her. I did not change lane. There's no, we're not passing anybody. There's nobody coming up. And she's decided now, and she's had done this. This has been a consistent thing.
Problem for a year.
Couple years.
Yeah. And she'll put up a message telling you how great it was that she got out of the right lane. I don't get it. So anyway, it's, you know, this is the same road. Like Kyle does his range test, 70 mile an hour on the same stretch of highway, so that they have some, you know, valid comparison points, because it's the same stretch of road, hopefully mostly same time of day, same stops and whatever. Well, we've done this route. I mean, the turn onto Burt was, the back road was a little bit, but this part of the road here coming up 421 and across to 64, whatever, this is the same stretch of road. And you know, it's always a different case when there's different cars and traffic scenarios, but it's still the same stretch of road. You would think it would be consistent. This is what I'm building today, 232 pieces. Don's still on his conference call, so I'm plugging us in. There's nobody here but us. It's a couple of silent videos because his conference call's been pretty heated. Okay, either I didn't press hard enough, or maybe it's because his foot's on the brake. That was really weird. I had to open the charge port from the screen. I don't know, his foot wasn't on the brake. The car was in park. I think we're going to be good to go now. We're good to go. That was weird. Well, this is the least crowded we've seen this charger. I wonder if this one not being lit up means it's not operational. We didn't even look at how busy it was or how many stalls were in use. You know, the car reroutes you around stuff if it's bad, although we did purposefully plug in this charger versus, you know, wait for what the car wanted. Yeah, Don walked in now to use the restroom, but he's still not off that call. Poor guy, it's been over an hour. Ruby's still getting, was 94, now 95 kilowatts. I know you can't see well. It was really an irritation that Tesla moved the charging information off the center screen. I guess they did that because people want to play games while they're charging and still see the stuff. But I thought we always had some stuff on both screens. Could they just not have left it on both screens? Yeah, this used to work better too. If you touch the screen right after the person gets out, it'll come back on. But if you wait 5 minutes or 3 minutes, some amount of time, then you got to open the door and reshut it to get it to come back on. Anyway, it used to work better. So it's changed the screen on me now. I guess there's the idle screen when it thinks no one's in the car, and then there's the screen you get to see when you're sitting there. It doesn't really matter. Yeah, 1220. Oh, is it not? I'm confused. But yeah, what Don has done, but Union Deck ought to still be in there, was round trip us, I guess, back to here. But I think Union Deck is, I don't know. The nav's not, we're on time. So all I'm trying to say is we're on time still for 12:30. And Johnny asked for pickup by the dorm that he lives in versus by the dorm that is on the outer loop. Because it's raining, and you know, no problem. Yeah, I'm really glad Don's driving today, because so many tractor trailers on 85 coming down out of the Greensboro area, and really fast traffic, and just people coming over the line, and just all kinds of stuff out there. And I mean, I've driven all the way to South Carolina to take the kids to Carowinds, and I hated driving through Charlotte, but I did it because I had to, because there was no other way we were going to get down there. But, you know, I didn't like it, but I did it. So I wouldn't like it today, but I'd do it if I had to. You know, one time I took the kids to the Outer Banks and took the van on the ferry. And as you might remember with the gate at St. Augustine's, I don't really like narrow places to put the car through. Any car, not just Ruby, any car. And the ferry was obviously really tight. But I did it because I wanted on the ferry. So I overcame, but I didn't like it. Well, we're on campus and it's 12:33. We're seeing lots of nice daffodils. I saw somebody posted a picture of a bunch of, I'm gonna say, plum trees that were super pretty. I'm seeing some pansies in the flower beds as well. It's pretty here. Yeah, there's the student union on the left. Almost always somebody crossing here. There's the clock tower, and I don't know what the building with the dome is. I think some of the education, as in you want to be a teacher, buildings are here near the street. There's a Model 3 with the plate current CURR3NT. I think that's awesome. Well, we've got Johnny, smooth pickup, and we're headed back north with the stop at the Thomasville supercharger this time. Culver's is Salisbury. I'm trying to get it straight in my head. It's closer to the campus. Thomasville is a little farther away. Thomasville is Sheets. Salisbury is Culver's. It's 2:20. I looked at the radar. There's a lot more rain coming through. We're kind of right on the cusp of being in front of it. We're in the middle of where it kind of splits a little bit. It's obviously not pouring and not that bad, but it is raining out there. Don's done with 2.5 hours of conference calls now.
Actually, yeah.
Yeah, 90 minutes and then about an hour. So 2 different ones. Yeah, I handled his coffee and his snack at the Sheets, and we're back going. He just, I don't know if the charge port door was going to open for me this time or not, because Don just went ahead and opened it since I told him I had trouble at the last charger. So I can't tell you more about that. You know, from time to time Ruby's door hasn't opened, but I've never had her not open when pushed on. Right. So I'm thinking that was some sort of a security thing that had to do with Don being in the driver's seat and me being outside the car. I don't know. Yeah. I got out, closed the door. I don't know. Anyway, it's all good. That's why you can open it from inside the car too. That's the Martin Marietta quarry. No clue what's going on, but obviously something. This dump truck was trying to turn in there, but he can't. Okay, it was an accident and they just happened to be blocking the entrance to the quarry. Not sure why that was necessary, but one of the cars was pretty beat up. Lasagna in the oven and chicken in the Instant Pot. I don't have a lot of time, but I thought I'd put a few bricks on. The next thing up is this rug that goes over here in this hallway area, and some other interior details before I build these outer walls. So I'll click what I can with a little help from my friends.